Hello, welcome back, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to watch. I really appreciate it. Next One Piece chapter has released, and it is a good one. We need to get right into what is happening in the rest of Egghead because we're certainly ramping up now where we left off. Luffy is just going into gear fifth. He's above them all as giant. He's grabbed hold of Kizaru, and we kick right off in chapter 1093, Luffy versus Kizaru. Now, before we do jump into the rest of it, I want to point out a lovely little subtle detail that Oda has definitely done, because that man is the master of foreshadowing. There is an old panel, and I'll try and put a picture up somewhere, from way back when in Tabodi that people were talking about online, and they are lined up in the order of the recent chapters. It goes Kizaru, Sentomaru, Kuma, Luffy, and Luffy's like, I'm going to be stronger than them all. And that is the past four chapters. Luffy vs Kizaru, I guess we'll put it in Luffy's favour. His name shows up first. But that is the sequential order of the current chapters. And we're going through, and Luffy is getting ready to gear up. So, chapter 1093. Luffy vs Kizaru. Cover story request. We have the Tesseers, the sort of lemur monkeys, have taken Kobe's and Helmeppo's glasses, and are just sort of like hanging out in the tree, which is kind of nice. But Luffy is laughing away at the start of this chapter, grabbing a hold of Kizaru, and everyone's reacting to how he's just a giant. He fights so freely. It's how it is. And he begins to start spinning his arm around and sort of winding up to throw Kizaru. Now, during this whole wind up, Kizaru's just unfazed. He's like, oh no, hey, stop, go easy on me, please. doesn't at any point change his mood. He's not worried, he's not happy, he's just very unfazed by everything. And Luffy's got this real big wind up right above the lab and just lets it go and sends Kizaru flying, absolutely sailing away. And Luffy reclines back. He's just sort of like chilling in the sky as he does, saying, well, he's gone far now, he's going away. And everyone's like, right, this is the chance now. This is our time to escape. While Kizaru's busy, while Luffy's keeping him at bay, this is our like golden opportunity. So Chopper's sort of questioning, like, where are we going then? And ask Atlas, because Atlas seems to be like getting ready for something. And Atlas explains that because of Kizaru's order to the Pacifistas, regardless of whenever they deactivate the Frontier Dome now, because they've cracked the code, like York's password was just basically invalidated by how smart Vegapunk is. But Atlas is like, look, even if when we drop the lasers of the Frontier Dome, the Pacifista lasers are just going to shoot us down as well. So we have to go and take command of them. We need to go down to the lower stratum and, override Kizaru's orders to the Pacifistas. And they were like, look, there is no one on this island that has a higher authority than Vegapunk. I mean, there's someone else who's got a higher authority, but they don't know he's here yet. But the Vegapunks at this current moment are saying, look, no one's higher than the Vegapunks, no one's higher than us in authority. We get control of the authority chip down in the Labo stratum, and we'll give the order to hopefully turn the PX back to our side and we'll be victorious. So, as Vegapunk is like scuttling around, he looks at the monitors and he's like, wait, Atlas, I'm coming as well. And everyone's like freaking out. Like Usopp is like, you are the last person who should be leaving. They're trying to kill you. Like, everyone's trying to do this. And now you're just like, yeah, you want to go down? It's like, what is happening? What incident is like worthy of your life being forfeit? But immediately, Vegapunk gets out a transponder saying, I was like, look, Frankie, Bonney's alive down there. So even though she got kicked by Kizaru into the Frontier Dome, she's alive and she's in the Labo stratum. And Frankie's like, right, cool. I'm like so glad she's alive. She got kicked earlier into the barrier. I'm relieved. And we get a first clue here from Vegapunk saying she's like, she was with a big adult like you. how could you let her get kicked? Now, this could just be Vegapunk because he's old, looking at like Bonney as a child. Or it's that Bonney is a child. Because, again, we still don't have Bonney's Devil Fruit name. We don't know exactly what her abilities entail. We know that she can manipulate her own age and the age of other people. Could be a thing that Bonney is a child and just manipulates her own age to stay as the young, like 20s Bonney that we see. And that's how she operates. But really, she's actually just a young child. The way she's like always upset and like she was trying to deal with her father and Kuma like leaving and becoming the pacifist the robot that he was. When Bonney was talking about the backstory and like what happened, it's almost that she was a child when he left. Because it was very recent, she still is a child. So he's very concerned about this little girl being by herself, surrounded by all the Marines that are down there. And they're like, look, we're on it. So Frankie's like, yeah, I'm going to go down. Lilith's there, and we've got the Shogun, Frankie, in the background, and so is the Sunny. So plans are being made. But before, they carry their conversation on, Sanji picks up his and is like, hey, I heard the name Bonney. Yeah, I'm going to come as well. So Sanji making very little, strides and just saying, yeah, if Bonnie's in there, it's non-negotiable. I'm coming down. We're going to save her, But he's on the second floor with Jinbei, and Jinbei has packed all the luggage that Vegapunk had wanted him to take, and is like, right, I'm going to head out the back, meet everyone, all over there in the back entrance where the Sunny is and everything. So we come down to the lower stratum, and we see that everyone is on high alert. They know Bonney is around, alive, in the area, because there are several Marines that are elderly and kids. And they're like, she's lurking around here somewhere, be cautious. She can manipulate your age, That's how she just, like, works. That's how she operates. But she needs to be eliminated on sight. And behind some rubble while this is being overheard is Bonney. So her like new jumpsuit that she was wearing from Egghead had like it has like a hood. So this like outfit looks really cool for like stealth. But we see that Sentomaru is on the floor, completely burnt to a crisp. And she looks over, and we get a brief momentary flashback to when Bonney was falling after she hit the Frontier Dome. It was Sentomaru who, like an absolute badass, caught her before she hit the ground. And like he's just like, Bonney, look, the Marines are coming, you gotta get. And he hits the deck, she escapes, and she's figuring out the idea of whether she should just wait until everything blows over, wait until everything's over, and just hide, or is she gonna like act and try and help the situation? I feel like old Bonney would have stayed hidden and just wait for everything to blow over. She's injured, like heavily injured. She's hidden. She's safe for now. I still think we have yet to find out, obviously, what she's learned about Kuma's whole backstory relating to why he chose to become the robot, the man he is, this weapon. And I think that's made a shift in Bonnie's character enough that she's not just going to sit around anymore, and she's going to start acting. She knows who she wants to be against now and wants to focus on taking out, like she said before, like to Kizaru. She was mad at the wrong people. That's why she was attacking Vegapunk, thought it was his fault. But now she knows the truth. I think she wants to protect Vegapunk. Certainly help Luffy and the others get escape anyway. But while this is going on, in the meantime, we jump back up to the labo and we just see Luffy still chilling in the sky, laughing away. And he's like, wait, hey Zoro, you're fighting as well? Huh? What's that? And we see like Zoro's swords clashing, and we see he's in full clash with Lucci, and Lucci's already like straight into his awakening. So the dark clouds are right around Lucci. He's full on trying to attack and kill Zoro, and my guy Zoro, just not taking it. All his swords as well, by the way, are just like coated in fire. Like if that's not just one of the baddest things ever, like it doesn't even look like the hacky that the lightning effect has. His swords are like got like a fire on each of them, and he's striking against Lucci, and he's just like, oh my guy, I'm gonna tell you this, with the level of power you've got, there's not a chance you're fighting my captain. It's like, oh, he's already like, you're not strong enough anymore to go against Lucci, like Lucci. Not happening. Not happening. You had your fight before. You lost badly. Sorry, but ain't happening. And he's like, yeah, you know what? You know what, Zara? Yeah, you may be right, but then killing the number two of a Yonko crew is worth it instead. So the goad's starting. We see the fire. Like Zoro is ready, and like his egghead suit, like it just looks so cool on him. But Lucci is like amped up. So he's somehow. I mean, we don't know how injured he was from the night before, but certainly up until this point, he's been going along with the guile of working with them. We don't know how far it was entailing, but seeing as Kizaru showed up, he's now ready to take on the Straw Hats because there's an admiral around, and we see that this admiral is not one to be trifled with. As Kizaru is flying miles away from the island, he's like, "Oh, about to fall in the water here. That's going to be a problem." And he sort of got his arms crossed. He's like, "Oh, all right." And he sort of like twists his body, and he does the sacred jewel, the Yasagi no Magatama, and he fires out loads of those lightning like beads and balls that he used to. But this attack's almost different. Instead of just like bombarding the area, he's firing them out and up into the air, and then his whole body like splinters into all the jewels as well. So a whole array of them are fired out. So he saves himself, obviously. But as Luffy's like catches all these balls coming towards him, they all become copies of Kizaru. So like 20 Kizarus just like appear around Luffy like, oh, hi. Sorry, back now. And they all pull out the sword of Gathering Clouds, or of the Amano Murakama. They all get the light swords and try and strike Luffy down. And Luffy's like, gets hit, and he's like, oh, you know what? Enough of this. Does Gomu Gomu no Dawn Whip, and he tries to like swing his leg through them all, but obviously they're all made of light. He just passes through them, and he's like, oh, they're just like the hollow things when they first came to Egghead. We got a little callback to Luffy making the connection of things, the holograms made of light, you can't hit them, and he's like trying to figure out what he can do. So as he's like running away, runs up into the sky, all the clones follow, and like Luffy thinks he's got one over on them. He's like, you fell for it. And he does Dawn Stamp, and he coats his leg in Haki, and ricochets and dominoes through all of them, and they all just get like disintegrated. So he's dead proud of himself. He's like, right, starting to catch on. He's like, right, did I get the real one? And he's sort of like looking around, and he's like, oh, what? We see that the real one has just got Usopp by the throat, and it's like, oh, that's strange. Where's Vegapunk gone? Like, he was just here. Like, what happened? And Luffy's like, oh, damn. But we see that escaping in a Vega tank is Atlas and Vegapunk driving in, and it looks like the main shell is the bubbles that they've been using this whole time, because Sanji has caught up to them, but maybe just didn't have time to get inside, and he's grabbing onto the bubble, as like the two side wheels are just like going down like the main escalator that they originally came up in. Like they just shatter through the glass and they're heading down. It's like what's happened? Like your expression has like changed all of a sudden. Like what is going on? And Vegapunk's seriousness kicks in. He's like, "Look, I'm on my way to save Bonney. I will not let that young girl die on my watch." So now this is the second time Bonney is being referenced by Vegapunk as a young girl. So if this isn't already like Oda trying to tell us that, look, Bonney might not actually be the age we think she is. She could still just be a young girl who ate the time devil fruit or whatever devil fruit she's eating. We still don't know. And she's manipulated her age to be in the worst generation, in her 20s or whatever, and is trying to figure this whole grand scheme out just to save her dad. But Luffy realizes, he's like, old man Apple, like, why are you going to get yourself killed? Why are you trying to escape? And Kizaru's already onto it. And he readies up a laser beam and he's like, oh, like, where are you planning to go, Vegapunk? Like, come on. Shoots and Luffy intercepts, but instead he like inhales the attack and like tries to swallow it. And then it all like just like splinters out from like his nose and mouth and it's like burning and saying it's hot. So a creative way, but we see Luffy just become a beam of light for a panel. But Frankie's on the way down too. Lilith we see saying, right, I'm going to use the Shogun to carry the ship away. So we've got Frankie has now also jumped onto the tank. So Sanji, Frankie, Atlas, and Vegapunk are heading down. Lilith is taking care of the Sunny. Luffy's trying to stop Kizaru, but not to much avail so far. But coming down to the last pages, we see the coast now, where all the marine ships are still in communication saying that we've just had word that Vegapunk has come down from the upper stratum. He's now in the Fabio stratum. He's come down from the lab. Something's happening, and we can see Edison working away, being like the Frontier Dome is partially disabled. So he's like trying to keep going with it. And as Vegapunk is barreling through the clouds coming down, we see attention, all pacifistas. This is a change of order from Vegapunk. Purge all Marines from the island. And Atlas is like screaming almost into the authority chip. We see the signal go off on all the pacifistas. And the final panel is just a very solitary, very like the grimace of Saturn just like staring. He is not looking too pleased. And he is like hearing this order. And I think we're very close to seeing him in action. I think he's going to take matters into his own hands and try and deal with the fact of the situation. It also could have been a big part of his plan because of what they've done. If he's very tactile, similar to Kizaru, who's been very tactile at the minute, maybe they were trying to bait Vegapunk to come out of the lab. Now he's on the Fabio stratum. There is nothing stopping the Goro, say St. J. Garcia Saturn, to just step onto the island. And we know he's got a devil fruit ability. We saw the shadow. We don't know what his ability entails, but it was theorized that the bull shaped shadow was his. So he's going to have a pretty strong devil fruit. But the problem is Luffy's trying to currently hold off Kizaru. And they've had some back and forths, but Kizaru's still not being like hurt a whole lot. And there's a break next week, so another 2-week wait, I guess. But I mean, if we just go straight into the next chapter, we have the title of like St. J. Garcia like in action. Because now the pacifistas are just gonna turn from attacking the sea beast, which they've dealt with. They're just gonna turn on all the marines that are in the Fabrio trying to hunt Bonney. I've heard Vegapunk's on the way. Really, the only thing that could save them is the vice admirals will survive and be able to fight against the pacifistas. Just about. Kizaru could probably deal with them. And probably good St. J. Garcia. But overall, a pretty full on chapter for all like new techniques, and we're seeing Gear 5 Luffy go against an Admiral. And in a completely different scenario than like just going on against a guy who's just like pure power like Kaido. The versatility of what Kizaru's able to do. I don't know even if we'll see like what's happened in the past day. I think so much is happening right now in the current moment that I want to stick with it. That knowing the information that they like survived the night and dealt with York, like we know that information. If we go back to it in flashbacks, it's just information filler for like certain events that happen. Like we've still yet to see where Kaku and Robin have gone. Nami is somewhere. She was up in the control room with Usopp. But that whole interaction in the control room, Kaku should still be in a bubble somewhere. Kizaru made no attempt to help unless he was already moved. Same for Nico Robin. You know, a woman who is under such severe threat from the world government and Agorase especially, for knowing what she knows and being able to like read poneglyphs. For Kizaru to appear in the room, look at Vegapunk and be like, "You're just my main target," even though like Robin was injured and was in the room. So my assumption is she's not in the room. She's somewhere else. It's just where's she gone and with who? Because Chopper was still in the room. Who was bandaging and looking after her? We know Jinbei and Sanji were on the second floor somewhere and now have come to help. Same for Frankie. I'm asking like 20 questions, but anyway, thank you for allowing me to ramble on and listening to me. I hope to see you in the next One Piece review. See you guys later.